Remember when chicken actually tasted like chicken? When you could roast a bird on Sunday and the smell would fill the entire house with something that actually made your mouth water? When the meat had texture, flavor, substance? Those days feel like a distant memory, don't they? Today, we're exposing the 8 UK supermarkets selling chicken you should never buy and revealing the only 2 places that are actually worth your hard-earned money. Will your regular shop make the list? Or have you been getting ripped off this whole time? We're starting with a name that built its entire reputation on community values, ethical sourcing, and doing right by the customer, the Co-op. For generations, this was the shop you could trust, the place that cared about more than just profit. But their standard chicken breast fillets tell a very different story. The Co-op sell chicken breast fillets with added water, not just a little moisture from processing. Added water, deliberately injected to increase weight and bulk up the product. And they're not alone in this practice, but what makes Co-op's version particularly frustrating is the price point. You're paying a premium for what you assume is quality, ethical chicken. Instead, you're getting a product that's been pumped full of liquid. Check the label next time you're in. You'll often see water content listed as added. That means when you put that chicken in the pan, a significant portion literally evaporates into steam. You watch it shrink before your eyes, leaving behind a smaller, tougher piece of meat swimming in milky white liquid. One reviewer put it perfectly, paid nearly £6 for 2 breasts. They shrank to half the size when I cooked them. Felt like I'd been robbed. That's because you have been. You're paying chicken prices for water weight and the texture, spongy, bland, watery. Nothing like chicken used to taste. The Co-op built trust over decades. But this product quietly erodes that trust every time someone cooks it and watches their dinner disappear into the pan. Coming in at 7 is Sainsbury's, one of Britain's oldest and most trusted supermarket chains. A household name since 1869. Surely their chicken is reliable, right? Not quite. Their basic range chicken thighs are a masterclass in cost cutting. These aren't just budget chicken. They're the bottom of the barrel and it shows. Pale, fatty, inconsistent sizing, and often with that telltale sign of water-injected poultry, excessive liquid pooling in the package. But here's the real issue. Quality control seems almost non-existent. Customers report finding chicken thighs with bits of bone fragments, excessive fat that doesn't render properly, and skin that never crisps up no matter how you cook it. One person described trying to roast them and ending up with grey, rubbery chicken swimming in white foam. That white foam is protein and water being forced out of the meat. Real, properly handled chicken doesn't do this. And the smell. Multiple reviews mention an off smell even when the chicken is well within its use by date. Not rotten exactly, but not fresh either. That slightly sour, slightly chemical scent that makes you pause before cooking it. Sainsbury's basic range exists to compete on price. But the trade-off is quality so poor that even bargain hunters are starting to complain. If your chicken smells questionable and cooks up grey, that's not a bargain. Asda's Smart Price Chicken, the range that promises to save you money on everyday essentials. And yes, the price is low, remarkably low, but there's always a reason. Asda's Smart Price Chicken portions are exactly what you'd expect from a race-to-the-bottom budget product. Maximum profit, minimum quality. These are often described by customers as having the texture of wet cardboard or rubber. Not exactly the kind of descriptions that inspire confidence. The chicken is typically pale, sometimes borderline grey, with an unnatural sheen that suggests it's been treated, processed, or stored in less than ideal conditions. And like most budget chicken, it's loaded with added water. Cook it and you'll watch it release alarming amounts of liquid into the pan, shrinking down and toughening up. But what makes Asda's version particularly problematic is the inconsistency. One pack might be acceptable. The next might be truly grim. It's a lottery, and nobody should be gambling with the safety and quality of their family's protein. One parent shared their experience online. Bought these for a quick midweek dinner. My kids took one bite and refused to eat it. Even smothered in sauce, they said it tasted wrong. Ended up ordering pizza. Waste of money and a waste of a meal. If even children who'll usually eat anything covered in ketchup are rejecting your chicken, that tells you everything you need to know. Here at 5 is Morrisons, who built its reputation as the food maker and shopkeeper, a supermarket that understood quality because it processed and prepared its own products. But their Savers range, that's a different story entirely. Morrisons Savers chicken breast is thin, watery, and lacking in any real chicken flavor. It's the kind of product that makes you wonder what chicken is even supposed to taste like anymore. Because this doesn't taste like much of anything. The texture is perhaps the biggest giveaway. Slimy when raw despite being within date. Spongy when cooked. It doesn't have the firm, slightly fibrous texture real chicken breast should have. Instead, it feels processed, engineered, held together by water and whatever brine solution they've injected into it. And then there's the size issue. These breasts are often so thin and uneven that cooking them properly becomes nearly impossible. The thin parts overcook and dry out while the thicker parts remain undercooked. You're left trying to find a middle ground that doesn't exist. Multiple reviews mention the same problem: excessive shrinkage during cooking. One customer measured their chicken before and after. A 200-gram breast cooked down to barely 130 grams. That's more than a third of the weight lost, mostly water. You're not buying chicken at Morrisons Savers. You're buying the idea of chicken, stretched and diluted until it barely resembles the real thing. If you're still watching and finding this information valuable, I'd really appreciate it if you'd leave the number 5 in the comments below, just to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you'll consider subscribing and ringing that bell. Your support is what allows us to keep creating content that exposes the truth about what we're really eating. Now, let's get back to it. Lidl has worked hard to shake off its discount reputation. They've won awards, they've positioned themselves as the smart shopper's choice. Quality at a low price, but their birchwood chicken fillets reveal the cracks in that carefully constructed image. The birchwood range is Lidl's standard own brand chicken, and it suffers from the same issues plaguing nearly every budget supermarket chicken: water injection, poor texture, and inconsistent quality. But what makes Lidl's version particularly frustrating is the deceptive packaging. The chicken often looks decent through the plastic, plump, pink, seemingly fresh. Then you cook it and watch it shrink dramatically, releasing disturbing amounts of liquid. The texture becomes rubbery and tough, and the flavor is virtually non-existent. You end up having to drown it in marinades and sauces just to make it remotely palatable. One review stuck with me. I've been buying this for months to save money. Then I bought proper chicken from a butcher for the first time in ages. The difference was staggering. I realized I'd been eating rubbish and calling it chicken. That's the insidious part. When you eat substandard chicken regularly, you forget what real chicken is supposed to taste like. Your baseline shifts. You accept less and less until rubber and water starts feeling normal. Lidl wants you to believe you're getting butcher quality at discount prices. You're not. You're getting exactly what you pay for and sometimes less. At 3 is Tesco, Britain's largest supermarket chain, the one that dominates the market, the one with the most locations, the most customers, the most influence over what Britain eats. Their everyday value chicken drumsticks are a perfect example of how market dominance doesn't equal quality. These drumsticks are apparently some of the most complained about chicken products in the UK, and it's not hard to see why. They're small, inconsistent, often with broken bones and loaded with excess fat and skin that doesn't render properly no matter how you cook them. But the real issue is freshness, or rather the lack of it. Multiple customers report buying drumsticks well within their use-by date, only to find them slimy, discolored, or smelling off. That's not just poor quality, that's potentially dangerous. One mother shared her experience: bought these for my son's birthday party, opened them the day before to marinate them and nearly gagged. They smelled awful, had to throw them out and rush to another shop. Ruined my planning and cost me extra money. And here's the uncomfortable truth about Tesco's budget chicken. It seems the company knows. There have been many customer complaints. They must know the quality is poor. But as long as people keep buying it because it's cheap and convenient, there's no incentive to improve. You're not a valued customer to Tesco's budget range. You're a volume statistic, a transaction, and the chicken reflects that. At 2 is Iceland, the frozen food specialist that's been on British high streets since 1970, the shop that promised convenience and value, the place mums would go to stock up the freezer. But their standard frozen chicken breast fillets are a disaster. Freezing chicken isn't inherently bad. Done properly, it can preserve quality and freshness. But Iceland's chicken fillets are a textbook example of how to do it wrong. These are often pumped with excessive added water before freezing, which means when you defrost them, they release shocking amounts of liquid. When you cook them, they shrink dramatically. And the texture? Stringy, dry, and tough all at once. It's almost impressive how they've managed to make chicken simultaneously watery and dried out. The flavor is non-existent. It tastes of nothing. Even with seasoning, marinades or sauces, it remains stubbornly bland, like you're eating textured protein rather than actual meat. And then there's the ethical concern. Iceland proudly displays British farm imagery on their packaging, suggesting quality and care. But the reality is these chickens are raised in intensive farming conditions, processed aggressively, injected with brine and water, frozen, shipped, stored, and sold as a budget staple. One reviewer summed it up perfectly. "I wouldn't feed this to my dog. It's not chicken, it's chicken-flavored sponge." When even pet owners won't use your product for their animals, you know you've hit rock bottom. And here we are. Number 1, the absolute worst chicken you can buy in a UK supermarket. And it comes from one of the fastest growing, most popular discount chains in the country. Let's start with the water content. Aldi's chicken thighs regularly test as having some of the highest water-to-meat ratios in the industry. Then there's the quality. Pale, fatty, with excessive skin that never crisps. Inconsistent sizes mean uneven cooking. And the smell. Even fresh from the fridge within date, customers report an unpleasant odour. Sour, chemical, wrong. But what truly earns Aldi the number 1 spot for worst chicken is the consistency of complaints. This isn't isolated incidents. This isn't one bad batch. This is systematic, repeated, documented, poor quality. One family shared their experience. "We used to buy these weekly. Every single time they'd shrink to nothing and release so much liquid the pan would be swimming. We finally switched to a proper butcher. Our food bills went up slightly, but we're actually eating real chicken now. Wish we'd done it years ago." Aldi has built an empire on the promise of quality at low prices. But their chicken reveals the truth. Sometimes low prices mean low quality, so there you have it. The 8 worst supermarkets to buy chickens from in the UK. But I promised you something else, didn't I? I promised you 2 places to buy chicken from that are worth your money. Because this isn't just about tearing down the bad, it's about showing you there are still better choices out there. Waitrose. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, it's where the posh people shop. But when it comes to chicken, they're one of the only major supermarkets still selling a product that actually resembles real poultry. Their Dutchy organic range, particularly the free-range chicken, is what chicken used to be. Proper texture, actual flavour, minimal water content, and ethically raised. You can taste the difference immediately. The meat is firm, not spongy. It cooks properly without shrinking dramatically or releasing lakes of liquid. The skin crisps beautifully, and most importantly, it tastes like chicken. Real, honest, proper chicken. Yes, you'll pay more, significantly more, but you're getting what you pay for. Real meat, raised properly, processed minimally, and sold honestly. One customer put it perfectly. "I can't afford Waitrose chicken every week, but when I do buy it, I'm reminded what chicken is supposed to be. Makes all the budget stuff taste like a bad joke." And here's the truth nobody in the supermarket industry wants you to hear. The best chicken isn't in supermarkets at all. It's at your local butcher. Find a proper butcher, one who sources from local farms, who can tell you where the chicken came from, how it was raised, and when it was processed. That chicken will cost more per kilo. But here's what you're getting. 0 added water, no brine injections, no processing, proper flavour, proper texture, and actual value. Because when your chicken doesn't shrink significantly during cooking, when it actually tastes like something, when your family wants seconds instead of rejecting it, that's real value. Not the illusion of value sold by supermarkets pumping water into meat and calling it a bargain. The butcher chicken revolution is already happening. People are waking up. They're realizing that saving a pound on watery, flavorless chicken isn't saving money at all when half of it evaporates in the pan. So what do we do about it? You don't need to overhaul everything overnight. Even small changes matter. If you can't afford butcher chicken every week, buy it for your Sunday roast. Make that one meal special. Make it real, then use the budget stuff for weekday meals where it's smothered in sauce anyway. Or go to Waitrose once a month for proper chicken and stretch it. One good bird can make multiple meals if you use it properly. Roast it Sunday, use the leftovers Monday, make stock from the bones Tuesday. The British public deserves real food. Instead, we've been sold watery imitations pumped full of liquid and marketed as bargains. We've been trained to accept less, to expect less, to settle for chicken that barely tastes like chicken anymore. But it doesn't have to be this way. Every time you choose the butcher over the supermarket, every time you demand better quality, every time you refuse to accept waterlogged rubber as an acceptable protein source, you're voting with your wallet. And that's the only vote these corporations actually listen to. So, Stay aware, stay sharp, and protect your plate. Because chicken used to be simple, honest, and delicious. And it can be again, if we demand it.